Welcome to Normal to Formal Podcast, episode number 37. I'm your host, Tia Young. I'm the founder of Tia Young Image and Etiquette. I help my clients learn the soft skills for success through professional development and etiquette training. The topic for today's podcast is house etiquette do's and don'ts when visiting someone's home. We all love to travel and visit family and friends, whether it be in the same city that you live or traveling and driving or flying to a different destination. This time of year is spring break when a lot of families travel to enjoy themselves and visit others. So this is a list of 15 house etiquette do's and don'ts as a guest. Not as a host this time, as a guest when you're visiting someone. And this is from an article I found in House Beautiful magazine. The first thing it says is avoid asking for the Wi-Fi code right away. We are constantly attached to our devices, our cell phones. So as soon as we're in a place that we can connect again to our device, and we don't have any connection by Wi-Fi, we ask. But it's suggested that even though most of us are often glued to our mobile phones, it can be seen as rude to dive straight in for the Wi-Fi code when you're visiting a family or friend. Even if you're visiting a close friend, it is polite to wait a little before bringing out your phone and trying to connect to the Wi-Fi. It's so important, that face-to-face conversation, that face-to-face bonding, getting to know each other, enjoying a meal, enjoying beverages. Wait at least 30 minutes to an hour to ask for that Wi-Fi code. A friend of mine has a code, a placard or on a little stand, and it says exactly what that code is, so you don't even have to ask. But try to keep that screen away as long as possible. Enjoy that time together. But I do advise also, you have your personal Wi-Fi code for the home and the family, and then have one that's for the guests that come in so they won't have to use your private code. Number 2, take your shoes off when you enter someone's home, or ask if you should take your shoes off. Different households have different views on shoes in the home, so it is always best to make sure you're on the same page. As you arrive at the entrance, it is good etiquette to remove your shoes before walking through the home, or check with the homeowner to see if they would prefer that you did so before going any further. Normally at the door, you can see the type of flooring that friend or family member has. If it's carpet, you always want to ask because it can track up the floor. If it's hardwood or tile, it might not be as bad, but you still want to ask just in case. And for the ladies, I was visiting a friend. She was having a little get-together at her house, and she asked everyone to take off their shoes. Now, I hadn't even thought about the fact that I might need to take off my shoes, so I didn't have a fresh pedicure. So I was almost horrified. They weren't as bad as I thought they were, but they weren't fresh, and they needed to be redone. Like I had the French manicure, and some of the white had kind of chipped off a little bit. So I just kind of felt a little bit embarrassed. So be prepared to take your shoes off just in case it is requested, and have on clean feet. And if you do have on like sneakers or something, clean socks and matching socks so it won't look so bad. Number 3, keep screens away from the dinner table. After your hosts have gone to the effort of serving up a lovely meal, getting your phone out at meal times can be seen as a rude gesture. Taking a break from the screen, even if it's just for a while at the dinner table, is polite etiquette. It also allows you to enjoy uninterrupted time with your loved ones and friends as you tuck into a home-cooked meal. And it doesn't have to be home-cooked. It could be Uber Eats or DoorDash, or you picked it up from a local restaurant or even fast food. Just enjoy that time together. Put those screens away and enjoy that, at least the meal time together. Number 4, don't go into bedrooms without permission. Unless you're staying overnight and you have a guest room that you will be staying in, you don't want to go into any other rooms that you have not been invited to go in. The bedroom is one of the most personal and private areas of our homes, which is why you should stay clear of it unless you're invited in. Sticking to communal areas such as the living room, the kitchen, and bathrooms will ensure that you don't risk overstepping the mark and making your host feel uncomfortable. Now, the main area, the den, for instance, in my home, where the television is and the kitchen is right off of the den area. We also have a living room, and then the guest bathroom is probably the area that most people will stay. Also on our loft area upstairs, we do have a pool table, so that's another area where people will go upstairs and play pool. But other than that, the bedrooms, if you're not staying there and have your own guest bedroom, do not wander, especially into the master bedroom, if you have not been invited to do so. Now, what I've done, like I have girlfriends that I want to check out a couple of my outfits or something that I maybe just bought, I'll invite them into my closet. But other than that, you don't want to just go on your own. Be very, very careful of that. Number 5, avoid the temptation to open up the fridge or any other cabinet that's in the kitchen or the bathroom cabinet, anything. Avoid that temptation to open up anything that is private. It is common courtesy to stay away from your host's fridge and kitchen cabinets, instead asking their permission if you would like any food or drink rather than helping yourself. Many homeowners feel uncomfortable if they notice that their guests are snooping, so unless you have the green light to do so, avoid heading into the kitchen cabinets or fridge without asking first. Now, some friends and family members, of course, they do not mind at all, but wait till you have been given that permission to do so. It's like, oh yeah, go right ahead. You get whatever you want. That's okay, but don't assume that in advance. Let them tell you that, or ask if you need something in particular. Number 6, don't turn up to a dinner party empty-handed. Whether you're attending a family dinner, a meal with coworkers, or a reunion with friends, showing your appreciation towards the host is considered good etiquette. It doesn't have to be a big or expensive gift, but a simple gesture to say thank you for hosting can go a long way. Common gifts include a bottle of wine, bouquet of flowers, or a box of chocolates. Something very simple. Normally it's under $25. They've gone out of their way to provide the food, the decor, cleaning the house before and after, and serving in between. So all that is a lot of work. So you want to show your appreciation by bringing some kind of gift for them to say thank you. If you do bring a bottle of wine, don't make them open that wine at that time. They might have a different type of wine or drinks to offer. So don't say, open mine. They might want to save that for another time. Also, think of when you do bouquets of flower, to help find a vase in water and put it in, because you don't want them to stop preparing the meal for everyone that might be coming to put those flowers in a vase. So maybe help to do that if you do bring the flowers. 7, wait to be offered food before diving in. Helping yourself to food at someone else's house can be misinterpreted as bad manners, especially if you are not particularly close with the homeowner. It is always good practice to double check before you begin diving in. Wait for food to be offered or ask if you are okay to eat any food that may be within reach and left out. Something that might be left out, maybe like snacks, chips or nuts or candy, fruit on the counter. Something like that is for the guests, but you still might want to say, is it okay if I have this or that? Number 8, appreciate and accept food that is offered to you. If a host has put the time and effort into making food and drink for their guests, It can be seen as rude if you turn it down completely. Although this will differ from person to person, it is polite to join the homeowners in enjoying their offerings, even if it's just a small quantity. Of course, this may not be applicable if you have dietary requirements or are making an unplanned appearance, which is a no-no. But people often like to see their guests enjoying their hospitality. If I prepared a wonderful meal, now I'm not the best cook in town. I have a few favorites, so I might order out. But if I do cook, I want my guests to at least try a little bit of it and not just sit back and not enjoy anything. So a little bit of something makes me feel good and not make me feel like, oh, okay, I know Tia isn't the greatest cook. So just enjoying a little bit will make me feel good, or probably any other guest that host as well. Number 9, keep your feet off of the furniture. Even if you're used to putting your feet up on the coffee table or relaxing across the sofa in your own home, it is polite to avoid doing this when at someone else's home. Some people don't like feet on the furniture, even if you're wearing socks or slippers, as this may be seen as a sign of disrespect for their home. If you are visiting a close friend or family member and feel comfortable in their home, it is still courtesy to ask for permission to do so before you make yourself too comfy. 10. Don't bring four-legged friends along without asking first. I love animals. I love furry animals. I have 2 fur babies, Hunter and Harley. They're golden doodles and they're big boys. They are 80 pounds and the other one is 60 pounds. So they're pretty big, but we don't allow them on the furniture. They do sit around on the floor, on the carpet, the rugs pretty much on the tile floors. When we do have company, I do put them in my home office, because you don't want them sniffing around everybody that comes. They might say hello for a minute, then I put them away. Even though I don't mind them being out, I want the guests to be comfortable when they come to my home, because they're so happy to see people come by. They want to jump up on them and everything, and I don't want them to feel uncomfortable on their clothing or anything like that. So I put them away. But if you are visiting someone as a guest, don't bring your pet unless it has been agreed upon. It might be a play date or something like that, the doggies or whatever, but ask first. Bringing your pet along to someone else's home without prior discussion can catch homeowners by surprise, and it may not always be a welcome addition. Instead of assuming that it will be fine to do so, always check that the homeowners are happy for you to bring your pets along. Make sure to check in advance that there are no allergies, children, or other pets to worry about as well. For instance, if they have a cat and you bring your dog, you don't want the dog chasing the cat and make the cat uncomfortable in their own home. So always ask first. 11, always flush the toilet. Although this may seem obvious, not everyone is in the habit of flushing the toilet after use. Regardless of whether you're on a mission to save water in your own home, make sure to flush when you're a guest in someone else's home. And on that note, always ensure that the toilet lid is put down after use. Now, in your home, you might have different rules. For instance, in the middle of the night, not flushing to wake a partner or your spouse might be a habit you have if you do number 1. Now, if you do number 2, you always want to flush, of course. But maybe in the home, your own home, you have different rules. In others' home, flush the toilet and put down the lid. 12, use a coaster when putting drinks down. You never want to leave unsightly rings on the surface, especially if the furniture is not your own. To ensure that this doesn't happen, always ask for a coaster before you place your drink down, or a napkin. If the host doesn't use coasters or has no more to use, at least you've asked and you have been given their go-ahead. Depending on the type of furniture that you're putting your drink on, wood will be ruined a lot of times when you have put a drink down and it leaves that ring. I have glass coffee tables, so normally I do have coasters, but I also I normally put a napkin down